And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Dragon DJ Reviews. I'm your host, Derek, or otherwise known as Dragon DJ. I'm joined by my good friend, Remy, also known as Average Kaiju Number 8 Enjoyer.
I was trying to think of another name. I was like, screw it, I'm not coming up with anything clever. Let's put this down.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't have the brain capacity today to come up with something clever.
Got to work on that. So let's see here. Let's just double checking everything. Okay, cool. Just making sure the video was actually live on Rumble. So yeah, we're pretty good. Anyways, so again, welcome back to the show. This week we are going to be wrapping up our conversation on the first season of Kaiju number 8, talking about episodes 7 through 12. And things are very crazy.
Yes, I told you they were going to get crazier.
Yeah. So yeah, we very, very cool episodes. A lot of emotional roller coaster ride moments, and yeah. So make sure you stay with us to the end, because at the end of today's episode, we will be revealing the next series that we're going to talk about, and it's going to be a two-parter. We're going to do the first half, go through the episodes. We're going to review the first half, and then we'll switch over to another series, review those, and then we'll come back and finish up the series that we're going to announce at the end of this episode. So, and if this is your first time here, please hit the like and subscribe button. Do appreciate that. Leave a comment below on your thoughts if you've seen the series, or if we've inspired you to go watch it or read it. Definitely read the manga too. It's very good. I've read the first volume, and I'm planning on getting the rest of them and reading through.
Yeah, I'm getting back into reading it.
So, and with all that being said, I hand it over to my good friend Remy.
All right. So after our previous episode, both Reno and I don't know, spiky pink hair man. I don't remember his name. Igarashi, I'm gonna say, I believe is what his name is. Let me look this up real quick. Actually, characters. They run into Kaiju number 9, as we saw at the end of episode 6, who was in his human form. So they run into him, and let me get the screen share actually ready.
Might help.
Yes. Yeah, I might have to. There we go. So they run into this handsome gentleman right here, who is holding out his finger, and of course we know that from Kikaru's encounter that when Kaiju number 9 holds out his finger, it's not a very good sign, and it's not because he shoots
you got to hit
Ihuru, right away.
Hey, Remy,
not look very good.
Got to hit
what happened?
Presentation.
What happened? Oh, wait.
You got to hit the presentation option at the top.
Presentation.
No, when you screen share, you got to hit presentation for it to show up.
Okay, screen share. Share. Where's the presentation option? There's no presentation option.
Hold on.
Usually this shows up in me.
Hold on. It's okay. On my end.
All right, well, folks are having some technical difficulties right here. Rumble's being annoying right now.
There we go.
There we go. There we are.
Yeah. Apparently
So No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. We were all confused
Yeah.
and at like the same time, so it's fine. We're all just like, what? So yeah, but anyway, Ihru gets a good, nice shot in the chest by number 9, and so number 9 gets out of his human form and gets into his kaiju form, and both Ihru and Reno are kind of like, oh, is this the kaiju that Kikuru ran into back there? So they're not very ecstatic about meeting him because, especially after that one shot, they know
Yeah.
that he's dangerous, and so again, it's a little bit of a duel right here. Kaiju number 9 starts getting into Reno, knocking him in his leg right here. And it's during this time when Reno actually has a flashback to when they were telling Kikuru at the restaurant about Kafka's secret. She was relaying information about number 9 to both of them, saying that he fires off shots from his fingers that go extremely fast, so you have to like pay attention as close as you can in order to see them coming.
Yeah.
So kind of giving a little bit of advice to Reno and Kafka if they ever encounter it. So yeah, both Reno and Ihiro are not doing very good right now. They're kind of getting shot the hell up by number 9. They're all getting bloodied up, and so Reynolds is like, you know what? Ihiro, leave, run, go find help. I can try to hold him off as long as I can, but you need to go. But you need to go. You need to run. You need to go find some help because.
And the reason why is because Kaiju number 9 is interfering with their communication abilities.
Yeah, that's right. They have like there's a shot of like this kind of force field around the area that number 9 kind of deployed to get rid of their communications. The same thing he kind of did with Kikuru when he showed up at the exam.
Yeah,
kind of took out the. He didn't really take them out, but like he did obscure the vision of the drones that were surrounding the area.
Yep.
So then Ihru begrudgingly leaves, and so that leaves Reno by himself to take on number 9. So he's just firing those freeze rounds as much as he can of them. And as Ihru is running away, he kind of gets a flashback of how he's been at the same combat level for like the past couple of weeks, and that's kind of annoying him because he wants to get stronger. And so he kind of remembers when Mina saved him, and he wants to get stronger so that way he can be as strong as she was back then.
Yeah.
And it's kind of getting to him that Reno is actually more capable than he is at this moment. And that kind of pisses him off a bit while he's trying to run and go find help. So there's some good insight into his character about how he kind of feels inadequate standing next to Reno, who shows more promise than he does at this moment.
Yeah, because Reno's power levels increased quite a bit since the first time they went out.
Yeah, that's right. Ihru has been consistent while Reno's is steadily increased since their training. But then we cut back to Reno and number 9, not doing very good right now. Number 9 just starts creating a bunch of like other projectiles to shoot at Reno.
Yeah, sprouts out a couple extra arms, and each of his fingers sprouts those like mushroom cloud things.
Exactly, and like those are, I think, for the audience, just for us to see like what they look like. I think when they're like about to burst out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but luckily for Reno, Ihuru comes back and manages to push him out of the way just in time before getting hit. Well, actually, my bad. Ihuru gets most of the damage from it, while Reno barely gets any, if not just a tiny bit. But yeah, Ihuru is just like, I'm not going to leave you, all right? We're going to take this guy on by ourselves, even if we have to. Even if we die trying, we have to we're part of the anti-kaiju like force. This is our job. So both of them decide to give it one more go. Reno goes for the tackle or for the run. Ihiro actually fires off some new projectiles that he kind of got influence from Reno. These like electrical kind of charges that kind of like was like kind of hold number 9 in place. Yeah, they stun him for a bit.
Yeah, stun shot.
Yeah, exactly. And that gives Reno an opportunity to power up one hell of a shot. Like you literally see the freeze like capsule like start to glow, and his entire body is glowing as well. And his eyes are all focused, and he's just like, "Please, God, please, please let this hit him. Please let
Yeah.
this work. Let us do damage. Let my power level reach freaking Hoshina or even Mina at this point." So then he just fires off
Rapidly.
round after round after round, just freaking hitting number 9 as best as he can. And it does not work. Number 9 just grabs a bunch of, I think, carcasses or something like that and just puts them all over himself and just shields him from the blast. And so he did not receive any damage at all. And so he just splits the body parts. He just rips them apart from each other and just starts lighting Reno up with projectiles one after the other. And it's a pretty brutal scene. Like, it's really brutal. I love the fact that, like, at the beginning, like, you have the music. It's kind of like a punk rock kind of thing where they're, like, about to kind of gives you the impression, like, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to take number 9 down. Nope.
No.
That lasts for about, 15 seconds, and then it's all downhill from there again.
And he loses this gun in that attack, too.
Yeah, that is true. So, what did you, kind of give me your thoughts on this whole, like, scene going on between, Reno and Ihru versus number 9? Like, what was going through your head?
I thought that they were going to die. Like, it was.
Wow, all right.
It was like, okay, well, I guess they're going down the dark path. Yeah, I mean, I knew they were in trouble when the guy showed up at the end of the last episode. But it was smart thinking on their part to like have at least one of them run out of the zone of interference and call for backup and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, for all things considered, they did pretty well. They didn't just get immediately taken out, and they did pretty well to somewhat put number 9 on his heels a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, their power level wasn't strong enough, but like he didn't just get to walk up and just execute both of them in one shot, and that's it. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, they were able to hold their own for a little bit, but eventually it didn't turn out well for them either.
Yeah.
But after that whole traumatic ordeal, we then cut to Kafka and his little squadron, and he kind of takes notice of the dead carcasses as he kind of sees them, these little tendril things kind of sprouting up a bit, and it kind of makes him flash back to the exam when those other kaiju were coming back to life after they had like literally killed all of them. So that kind of gives Kafka the warning, like, "Oh, something ain't right. Is that who I think it is?" And of course, right as he thinks that, Kikaru shows up and she's like, like both of their comms are down, like both Ihru's and Reynolds' comms are down, and so that kind of like solidifies both of their fears that number 9 is near the area.
Yeah.
And especially the fact that Ihru and like Reno are completely off the grid, that worries both of them. They're like, "Oh, he might be near them," and sure enough, he is. So then we cut back to poor Reno's not doing so well. Number 9's just tormenting him at this point, just like basically brutalizing him.
Yeah.
But Ihru tries to help his friend, tries to fire off some more shots from his pistol, but number 9 just blocks each of them, as you can see from this image, just rapidly, super fast, like it's ridiculous. Gave me freaking Goku versus Frieza vibes on Namek, where Frieza fired off a bunch of beams and Goku just blocked all of them, firing them off in different directions. So then Reno kind of gets a few projectiles from number 9 just to knock him down a bit. And number 9 starts torturing Reno, just like shooting a bunch of spikes into him as well. And Reno is like pretty close to death at this point. Like he's barely holding on to life.
Yeah.
And he tries to reach for his for Reno's freeze gun. And yeah, this is what it looks like. It's like really brutal. You're like, oh my god, dude, stop.
Yeah.
Done enough. Let him go. But number 9 is just number 9 is a pretty decent villain, just showing like the amount of like malice and like
to him it's an experiment.
Exactly. He's just like, let's see how long those suits can keep you alive while fighting me. And so he's just freaking hurting Reno at this point. And so Iroharu tries to grab the gun, or he does grab the gun, and he's about to fire off another round, but the gun just clicks. And what did they say? That it was out of bullets or that it was like jammed?
No. So right above his hand, you could see a little like opening.
Yeah.
And that's like the firing mechanism area. So it was damaged.
I didn't even I didn't even catch that until now. Wow, all right.
Yeah,
I thought it got jammed or something.
No, because the blue line is the ammo.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in a rifle like that, the firing mechanism is in that area. So he purposely damaged it to prevent it from cycling correctly.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. But yeah, so the gun's just completely destroyed at this point. It doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And so number 9 is like, well, this was fun, but I'm going to put you both down now. So he prepares one little final shot at Iroharu, and Iroharu basically is just praying at this point. He's just praying for God, a demon, the devil, anybody to come and like help him out. He literally just says like, just keep Reno safe. Like, just don't kill Reno, please. And so you're thinking like, oh my God, like, are they both about to die? Like, is this it? Like, are they really about to kill both of them?
Yep.
But long and behold, our MVP, Mr. Kafka, Kaiju No shows up just in the nick of time. So cool. I love it. I love how he says, "You're the one who's gonna die tonight. It's you, asshole," and just punches the shit out of number 9, literally like knocking his head off. And number 9 is like, "Huh? What has happened? Why am I seeing my torso fly through the air?" He's like, "Did my head just get knocked off?" Like he took a second. He's like, "Huh?" And like, that was a really cool moment right there. And luckily, yes. So fortunately for both of them, Kafka shows up in his Kaiju No 8 form, picks up Reno and just kind of puts him down someplace to just pull off. And he's like, "You know what? Control the suit." There's a little cute moment right here where he's like, "All right, try to make sure the suit hits the parts where you got hit." But he's like, "But I need to tell you that you're better than I am." Like he's trying to like lighten up the mood a bit.
Yeah.
So classic Kafka right there. So, but then number 9 gets his head back on, and he's like, "Wait a second, you're number 8, aren't you?" "Yes, I heard about you." And so, freaking number 9 just fires off one of the projectiles at Kafka, and actually penetrates him and makes him bleed a bit, but doesn't really do that much in the long run.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, "Oh, that was one shot. It better than anything to you. Well, I guess I better just overload you with a bunch of them." So then he just sprouts more of those freaking mushroom-looking projectiles, growing multiple arms in his back and just getting ready to hit Kafka. And when he's doing that, Iroharu looks at that and he's like, "Oh my God, was he just toying with us?"
Yeah.
Like he was hitting us with like just those like little ones from his fingers. And now he's just about to let loose. Like he was just playing with us the entire time, like a cat and mouse almost sort of dynamic.
Yeah.
But just as number 9 is ready to fire the projectiles, Kafka's just like, Kafka gets extremely pissed off because although it didn't really hurt him that much, but like he could feel the impact from that one projectile, and he's like, "You've been hurting my friends with this," and so he just gets really, really pissed off. And so when number 9 just fires all those projectiles, Kafka literally just stands there and screams and just obliterates all of them. Like none of them hit him at all. He just completely like deflects every single shot from number 9.
It
And
essentially creates a force field.
yeah, almost, but just his roar, just by roaring, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And so Kafka, number 9 is just like, wait, what? And as soon as he says that, Kafka like speed blitzes right in front of him and just starts
Pummeling him.
Jojo starring him. just
The
sending
Honda
punch.
style.
Yeah, exactly. Freaking
Or,
one punch man, serious punch.
or Luffy's machine gun
Gum
punch.
Gum? Yeah.
His machine gun one.
Yeah, that's right. And so he's just knocking number 9 around. Number 9 tries to put up a shield, but Kafka just like rips it apart immediately. Because Kaiju number 9 is just like, okay, maybe that'll give me a minute to heal. Kafka just
because he's taking some serious damage at this point.
He's scared. He's like, uh-oh, this is not good. I'm taking a lot of damage right now. Hang on, hold up. Kafka just rips it open. And he's like, come here. Number 9's
I ain't done with you yet.
Number 9's just like, whoa, relax.
Get over here.
Exactly. And this moment right here, like Kafka literally just like shoots these like pillars or whatever in the ground to hold himself steady and does the same kind of like rocket punch that he's been doing throughout most of the series and just hits number 9 with the power of Olympus and just launches that bastard like across like the town. Across the area. It's amazing and awesome. Yeah. And that hit is so powerful enough that it actually exposes number 9's
core.
Core area. And Kafka is there to stand over him and he's like, it's over in his Batman voice. So DJ, tell me, my friend, what did you think of freaking Kafka just pummeling number 9?
It was definitely an awesome fight. Seeing him kind of go Super Saiyan and just beat the snot out of this guy for torturing his friends and everything. It was just awesome to see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially like, I think like after showing us like how brutal number 9 was to both Reno and Hiro, I feel like if they didn't show us that scene beforehand, then I think Kafka's beat down on him wouldn't be as cathartic.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, he's hurt these characters that we grown to like, and so when Kafka shows up, you're like, yes, kick his ass.
Yeah.
Show him no mercy, and Kafka does not. But just as Kafka is ready to going to finish him, freaking 2 other officers show up, and so that gives number 9. Oh wait, whoops, yeah, that's right. Before that happens, 2 officers show up, that interrupts it. Then we cut to Kikuru kind of getting tired a bit with her suit, so she just decides to pick up a sign and just use that as a melee weapon, slicing some more of those Yoju in half.
Yeah, her ammo was running out.
Yeah. Also, too, I think it was the fatigue also was getting to her because they were showing that the last episode.
Yeah, that was part of what was affecting her ammo.
Yeah, that too. It was both actually. Yeah. But as we cut to this scene, we see a little flashback between her and Kafka before he went off to go fight number 9, and he's like, "I'm gonna go transform." And Kikuro's is like, "You better be careful because like, understand that there's officers like across the whole area. One of them catches you transforming, like it's not gonna be good after that." And so he just runs off. And so then everybody starts getting a call, especially Hoshina. That number 8 has just appeared from the officers that just showed up on the scene. And so number 9, we cut back to Kafka, and number 9 gets back up and takes advantage of trying to shoot down those 2 officers. But Kafka jumps in the way and blocks them. And number 9 is just like, we'll meet again someday, and just freaking vanishes
Fades
out
away.
of there. Yeah, exactly. This is like Kafka blocking the bullets. Yeah, and there you go. Number 9 just decides to just fade away and recuperate for another day of the fight. Kafka. And so after that, Kafka runs away too, disappears, literally just punches the ground and just jumps up, disappearing like Batman would do.
Yeah.
looked like a smoke bomb almost. As he jumps up, he manages to catch a sight of the officers helping out Reno and Ihru. So he's like, all right, good. They're safe. They're fine. So Kafka
And
lands in an alleyway. And just as he does, Hoshina is right behind him. And Hoshina's just like, oh, so you're Kaiju number 8. And Kafka's like, oh, damn. I made a mistake. So Hoshina's just like, don't worry, guys. I found number 8. I'll take care of it. And so then even Reno, both Kikuru and Reno overhear that. And Reno is just like, oh, no. Like, oh, please, God, no. And so then immediately after, Hoshina just goes straight for the kill. And that kind of puts Kafka in the back leg because Kafka is just like, oh crap, this is not good. Like I gotta try to defend myself without going full force on him, like I did with number 9, because I would just kill him.
yeah,
So we get this really awesome, really well animated scene of them just like jumping through the alleyway, and it's just Kafka being on the defensive while Hoshina is on the offensive the entire time. And so the episode is kind of ends with Hoshina and Kafka just staring down each other. Well, really, freaking Hoshina is just staring down Kafka in number 8 form, and he's just getting ready to finish him off. And so that like marks the end of episode 7. So, DJ, what did you think of episode 7? What did you think of that freaking ending with Hoshina showing up?
overall, really good. Good tension and everything with number 9 popping up and attacking the 2, and Kafka showing up at the last second to lay the smackdown on him, and vice captain showing up and starting to attack him. It was like you're like, come on, Reno, somebody's got to be like, no, he saved us, don't attack him.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, like, it's even funny because it's just like, wow, Kafka literally had to take down number 9, and now he's got to like try to defend himself against Hoshina on the same night.
Yeah.
Like one after the other. He's like, oh my God, why? Yeah. But yeah, no, that is number episode 7 for y'all.
Yep.
So now we go to episode 8 right here. So episode 8 kind of starts off where episode 7 left off with Hoshina and Kafka kind of staring down each other, and Hoshina kind of gets in this ready position. He's glowing all over,
because he's
and he manages to actually get like a very clean and very straight hit on Kafka like immediately. Kafka didn't even notice it. He's just like, "Oh God, he just hit me."
Because when he was in that crouch position, he was activating his powered up mode. So
yeah, no, we saw his suit like tighten even more.
Yeah.
So he was just like getting ready to attack at that point. And so after that, look at the same thing that happened to Ali. Kafka is trying to evade all of Hoshina's attacks, and Hoshina's just going straight for the kill. Again, really well animated. I love the animation they did for both of them. Just like those quick like jumps and spins and everything that was going on. And so
screenshots don't do it justice.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like again, like I was trying to take pictures of it. I'm like, none of this looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, you have to watch it. Again, this is like how really smooth animation works. You can't really pause it in the middle. You just gotta like let the entire thing flow in order to get the full experience. But it's really well animated. Don't worry, we're being serious. It looks really good.
Yeah.
And Hoshina is just attacking him. Attack, and Kafka is just trying to block as best as he can. Eventually, Hoshina actually manages to pierce like almost straight to Kafka's core.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, I know. You're like, oh crap, like he's right there. And so Hoshina kind of takes a step back for a minute. Kafka actually manages to heal himself before this, and just as he does, you see Hoshina like take another stance, and you see both of his blades like start to glow, like they like they look like they're burning almost.
Yeah.
And so what he does, he just does this like huge slash where he like crosses both of them and just does that and just sends like an attack right at Kafka, and
Sonic
it
boom.
does, yeah, almost like that, and it gets a pretty good hit on Kafka. And Hoshina goes in for another attack to get the core, but as he does, Kafka's Kaiju's body reacts and does that mouth where it like latches on to the knife, like stopping it midway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as again, like it literally reminded me of Venom. Like this is something Venom would totally do, create like a mouth out of his skin. So so when Kafka catches it, that gives him the advantage. I don't know why that is why. Oh, I took multiple screenshots of that. That's why. Because I was like, ignore that, people. but as but when Kafka's mouth catches that, he powers up and just and Hoshina is thinking that he's gonna punch him right then and there, but instead Kafka just punches the knife out of him and just manages to give him and Hoshina some space.
Yeah.
And as he does that, Kafka takes the advantage, and just gets out of there. He bolts out of the fight, and Hoshina's just like, "Damn it, I didn't get him." So,
but it raises a lot of
but it raises a lot of questions to him, like later on, and like I think the next episode. But tell me, what did you think of this little skirmish between Kaiju number 8 and Hoshina?
Really good fight. Like you said, the action was really good, really well done. Like we already talked about, screenshots just can't do the action justice. Like it's just
it's really well done.
so smooth and everything. Has to be seen. But we're not trying to infringe on any copyrights or anything, so that's why we do screenshots instead of showing the video.
Exactly.
So,
what's funny is that despite how well these fights were like animated, I think the budget like went to the most of the budget I think went to like the final fight of the season, which we'll get to later in the video. Like I think that animation, I'm like, wow, this animation is like crisp. It's so good looking, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
But
I was glad that Kafka figured out how to get out of there. Without hurting him.
Yeah.
So
because you're thinking like he doesn't really have any other choice but to hurt Hoshina, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna use a lot of my power just to scare him off a bit, and as soon as I do that, I'm out of here.
Yep.
So that gives him a chance to just blitz out of there before Hoshina does anything else. And then we cut to Kikuru kind of waiting on like a dead carcass, and Kafka shows up, and she's all happy and excited to see him. Yeah, she smiles and she blushes, and he's like, "Oh, were you happy to see me?" And she's like, "No." Screw you. Of course, she's like trying to hide the fact that she wasn't happy to see Kafka still alive and well.
Yeah,
as you can see there, a little smile. Very cute moment. So you kind of get that little like smirk with her.
Yeah.
and then you get after she kind of helps Kafka up a bit because Kafka's at this point kind of tired because like that he kind of used the number 8 for like a long period of time because usually in the series so far he's only used it for like lower kind of tier threats like that beginning of the series, and then when he had to punch that one other kaiju to save Kikuru. But like him using it not only to fight number 9, going all out, and then having to evade Hoshina, and that put a lot of stress on his body, so he's kind of tired, and so Kikuru kind of like holds him up a bit. But Kafka, that doesn't let him slow him down, so he tries to go find Reno and Ihiro, check up on them, and she kind of like grabs his like little collar or something like that, like his mask is hanging around his neck, and she's like, "No, just wait. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, really? Like, you need rest. Like, calm down for a second."
Yeah.
And like, he's just still built on adrenaline at this point. And she like, what is that? I think she like makes a mention of how both Reno and Ihiro will be fine because the Kaiju Defense Force is like adapted the best medical treatments like ever at this point because they're fighting kaiju, so they kind of have to. So
basically, like the rejuvenation tanks in Dragon Ball Z.
Basically, yeah. As we'll see later in the show, but yeah, that kind of reassures Kafka a bit, so that's good. And then we cut back to Hoshina kind of sulking a bit as he wasn't able to take down number 8 very well.
And analyzing the whole fight.
Yeah, and Mina kind of takes advantage of that. She's like, "Wow, I've never seen you sulk before." me take a picture of this.
That was so funny.
Let me take. I need to document this. He's like, "Are you serious right now? My lowest moment." He's like all pissed at her. He's like, "Why?"
Which it's a good showing of their camaraderie with each
Yeah.
other, because like it was also kind of the most relaxed we've seen her so far too
That is
in the
true.
series.
Yeah.
She's always,
Exactly. Like, yeah. No, like it shows like a side to her that's not like being the captain in the current moment.
So,
but yeah, no, that's a good point. So then her and Hoshina can have a little bit of a talk where she's like, it's fine, like don't beat yourself up over it about not like taking down Kaiju number 8. Like, still have another chance to do it, so don't worry about it. So she kind of giving him a little bit of a pep talk there. But then they both get a call in from one of the other captains saying that basically bringing in a report from Ichiru and Reno saying that when they found number 9, he was disguised as a human, and both Hoshina and Mina are like really taken aback by that. Like, you see both of their faces kind of go, "Uh-oh, that's not good." Like that's a little troublesome.
yeah.
So then we cut to this scene where we see number 9 in his human form again, injured, kind of about to enter this
Tunnel.
This tunnel, and then some poor guy pulls up, and for some reason sets out a car and just goes, "Hey, what are you doing? Get on the road." Personally, I want to get on my car if I saw somebody like this.
No.
I'm just gonna keep driving. I'm gonna ask them, "Hey, you okay?" And if I don't get an answer, I'm just gonna go, "All right, I'm leaving. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. But yeah, no, he steps out of the car. Jesus, he steps out of the car, and so number 9 kind of walks by him at first, and the guy turns around and was like, "Hey, what the hell, man?" And then as he does, freaking number 9 turns into this monstrosity. And we don't see it, but we hear it. Freaking number 9 just like chomps on the guy and takes on his form.
Yeah.
As you can see here, kind of takes on his figure. Still having trouble though, trying to keep his like kaiju self under wraps, because like his head keeps like popping up from it. And so, which I think is, he was struggling before, but I think also because it's the fact that he was literally like beaten the hell up by Kafka the previous night, so that's kind of like making it more difficult for him to keep that form alive, to keep that form more stable.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I need to go heal up, recuperate before I make my next attack. So kind of an ominous warning for the future. Then we cut to Reno in the infirmary with Kikuru and Kafka kind of waiting by his side, all happy to see him wake up.
Man.
Oh yeah, no, this scene. We're about to get to it. We're about to get to it. I think it's the next slide.
Yeah.
But Reynolds is like, sorry, you had to, like, thank you. Like, it kind of lists like thanks Kafka for like saving him and whatnot. Like, thank you for like helping us out with number 9. And as he says that, he was right next to him, and he was just like, "What are you talking about? The old guy? What are you talking about? Freaking old dude wasn't there." And I was like, "Oh, Iru, I didn't notice you right there, buddy." Like even Kikuru and Kafka are like, "Uh-oh." Like,
dude,
look up at Iru, and they're like, and Reynolds at first is like, "What's wrong?" And he turns around, and then he sees Iru right there, and so they kind of try to fix that by saying, "Oh, we meant that Kafka for finding the reproductive system of the Yoju was a big help." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, thanks for that." And Kafka's like, "Yeah, no, of course, no problem." And then Iru kind of goes on complimenting number 8. He's like, "Wow, that guy was so strong, so cool." And Kafka's kind of like taking, like kind of admiring that. He's like, "Oh, great." And Kikuru takes
go
notice of
on.
that. Yeah, and then she starts like punching him in the side. And he's like, "Why?" Because he notices that Kafka's smiling a lot, and he's like, "Why are you smiling so much?" Kikuru's like, "Nothing. He's just being an idiot," while punching him in the side at the same time. So, little nice comedic moment right there after the whole number
Near-death
9.
experience.
Yeah, with the whole 9 scene. So yeah, lighthearted stuff. We love
Yeah.
it. Comedy, great. Then we get after another good, cute, wholesome moment. We get another wholesome scene with the whole squadron throwing a comeback party for Ikaru and Reno. Then we get like this whole reveal of a bunch of chefs popping up, which are actually who actually work for our what'd you call him again? Samurai haircut guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we find out that he's actually one of the what is he, like part of like a really like strong lineage or something like that, like a really rich lineage.
His family is the tech company that makes their gear.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Haruichi. Yeah, Haruichi. So this is like all the chefs work for him, and even Kafka was kind of taken back like that. I was like, I didn't even know that. I just kind of asked you to do it just because I was asking you. I didn't know we were gonna hire a freaking whole like cooking department to handle our food for tonight.
Yeah.
That was a very like funny moment right there.
And then somebody else like commented to him like, "You knew that, right?" He's like, "No."
Yeah, no, Kiguru was the one that told him.
Yeah.
Because like, of course, she knows. Because even she admits, she's like, his family's like even richer than mine. So like, of course, I know about it. So a funny moment right there. And Hoshina comes in and just kind of lifts up a beer. He's like, "All right, cheers, everyone, enjoy." And they all start having a good time. Everybody's talking, gabbing, just all around a good, wholesome moment. And then it turns into just drunken yelling with everybody. Even of the moment where Reno's just like, "Oh, this is all sweet," and then Hoshina is like, "Give it a second."
Yeah.
And immediately cuts
Just
to
wait.
this, just everybody yelling at each other, and like Reno's just like, "Oh my god, like why?" Even Kafka's just like kind of gaining on it too. They're all just like bickering, not really bickering at each other, but they're all just like talking smack to one another.
Yeah.
It's like very funny in his reaction. Breno's just like, "Oh my god, this is terrifying." While Hoshina is just like enjoying it. He's like, "This is great." Even like the girl in the glasses, like, this is a yearly tradition almost because this happens every time we have this. So it's a little good, a funny moment right there. But then Hoshina kind of makes mention that they're not just kind of bickering; they're also working out strategy as well while they're doing this.
Yeah.
So they're offering like critiques, but they're also but they're useful critiques though. To make for a better formation in the future when it comes to another kaiju attack.
Yep.
Yeah. What would you think of that whole little wholesome scene between characters and them talking and chatting?
Very enjoyable scene. With the grim test that they have to deal with and stuff, it was nice to see that that they have some kind of a tradition. And actually can take the time to kick back and relax and compare notes and things like that. So
Yeah.
very good scene, very funny.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Especially like I think what makes those scenes so rewarding is that we just like had so much like action and tension in the previous episode and the beginning of this episode. So it's just like, oh good, finally.
Well, yeah, because we went from them fighting, having a like small kaiju and then the giant one that the captain had to take out.
Yeah.
And then they're doing cleanup on that and encounter number 9.
Yeah.
And then number 8 pops up, which only 2 of them know that he's a good guy. So, they're freaking out about that. So, and,
even and then you got Hoshina trying to take down number 8, so you have a little fight.
Yep. So
it's a good like breather, especially because like the next couple episodes are just nothing but high octane action. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
There's no levity. There isn't.
Yeah, and apparently there's a common factor in this series that if Kafka's up late studying, something's going to happen.
Oh God, you're right. He was up late. Yeah, he was late studying the first night, and then of course that's when the mushroom kaiju showed up.
Yep.
Then he's studying again in this episode late at night, and all hell breaks loose as soon as he's about to turn in for the night.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, you're right. I didn't even notice that. That's so funny.
So
People
it'll be
at this point, you gotta tell Kafka, stop studying late at night. Every single time you do, we're screwed afterwards. Stop it. So yeah, that's funny. But then we cut away from the whole little dinner scene and we cut to Harushi talking to the chef, and they kind of have this like little cool dynamic where it's not just like a worker and boss thing. They actually kind of act like friends almost when talking to each other. Even the chef kind of makes mention of Haruichi's father, asking him like, "Hey, when's the last time you talked to your dad?" And Haruichi's like, "Not since like that incident or like whatever happened last time." So that kind of gives us the fact that Haruichi and his dad are not really on the best terms, or like they haven't really spoken in a long time.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives us some more insight into his character. And then Ahui kind of shows up, and you think that he's just eavesdropping, but really he's just like, "Nah, I'm just turning to bed." So that kind of, it's a small, it's some people might think like, "Well, why'd you include that? It's not really like a big moment." But I'm like, no, it kind of gives us some more insight into Aui's character. Like he's not one to just like listen to other people's.
And it comes back full circle towards the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's not one to just listen to someone's personal life. He's like, no, I'm just turning in for bed. And like it gives it like a good like idea too about how like good of a soldier he is. Like he has that soldier mentality where everybody else is still drinking and partying. He's already heading off to bed. So like he's kind of this like that kind of like follow orders kind of guy.
Yep.
Yeah, but he leaves, and then Hoshina kind of makes a big announcement, and the announcement is that Kafka is now no longer a cadet, but an actual officer. So everybody's just super proud and happy for Kafka. Got everybody smiling and cheering him on. So another little cool moment right there. You're like, yay, Kafka.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, I think the writing for like Kafka is like pretty well done, where it's just like you want him to like succeed, despite the fact that he has the number 8. He has Kaiju number 8 under his arsenal. You're like, no, I still want him to like to succeed and like do good as an officer, because that's what he like. That's what his dream is, really. The Kaiju thing was just sort of a side thing, an unexpected like occurrence that happened. That wasn't really his dream to become a Kaiju, and that would be really weird if it was his dream. But like, no, it's good.
To him, it's like a Hail Mary to use as the last resort. But
exactly.
He wants to accomplish everything as an officer himself. He doesn't want to, like, he has no intention to use the Kaiju ability to, escalate his station or anything like that, which we saw when he was doing the tests and everything. He didn't use it to pass the physical exams.
Yeah.
So
because like I think like his whole interpretation of using the Kaiju abilities would just be like like you said, as like a last resort. Like I think he would probably like prefer making it his whole life not to use the Kaiju abilities too much, unless like he really had to.
Yeah.
As he just be a normal guy and just kind of pursue his goals at being a officer that's standing next to Mina. So yeah, but that's a cool little like detail about Kafka's character I really enjoy in the overall story.
Yep.
And we get a nice little conversation between Aoi and Haruichi, where Haruichi's like, "This is nice. This makes me want." And again, giving him some more character depth, where he's like, "I want to make sure that I bring everybody back, so we can have more moments like this." And Aoi's like, "You know what? I agree with you." So that's like a really cool scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
We cut to Kafka being appointed officer by Mina. So we had another little moment between them, and Kafka is just like, "I try my best to make it to your side," and that kind of makes her smile a bit. And then she says, "You talk. By the way, you gotta still call me captain. So 50 push-ups." Damn it! So yeah, little funny moment right there. Then she kind of makes mention of like Kaiju 8 and number 9 about how they have these 2 new Kaiju appear, so they have to be on the lookout for that. But also another important factor is that she does mention that actually it was Hoshina who kind of asked for Kafka's promotion. So Kafka's was like, "Oh, all right then." So he was kind of taken aback by that. But again, kind of gives us some more insight into Hoshina and how like cool of a character he is, where he has that much respect for Kafka, where he's like, you know what, no, this guy proved himself. Let him be an officer. I think he's fulfilled his role as cadet for now. So little cool detail right there. And so again, like you said, okay, Kafka is up late studying again, and as he's about to head off to bed, he notices a light in the other room, and he finds Hoshina kind of just sparring a bit. But he's not just sparring. Kafka takes another look, and Hoshina is actually recreating the fight he had with number 8 the previous night. So he's kind of reenacting the fight, kind of like trying to think about what he messed up on. Because he's like, oh, if I went for this attack instead of I went for the head here, I would have won it. So he's kind of just reenacting the fight, kind of giving a better idea about what he has to do for next time. And Kafka's just like, oh, that's not really good for me, because then we meet again, he'll probably kill me. And so, yeah, Hoshina is kind of like telling him, like, I'm just practicing. Like, Kafka even like questioned him, he's like, what are you doing? Hoshina's is like, I'm just practicing. So the next time I meet him, it'll be fatal. And he kind of gives this like intense look at Kafka. He's like, I'm gonna kill number 8. And
I forgot about that.
I love it. I had to take a screenshot of it. I was like, all right, that's one I have to take a screenshot of.
Yeah.
It's just Kafka like freaking the hell out in his head. He's like, oh my god. He's like, no. And the pee come out of his like chest again, like from episode 2. So you got him going like, oh god, no, please. I do not want to fight Hoshina again. Please let that not happen. And like even Hoshina kind of makes like a remark. He's like, dude, like, calm down. I'm on your side, remember? Because he's like wondering, he's like, why are you freaking out so much that I'm gonna have to kill number 8? Like, what do you care?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, nothing. So he tries to cover that up, and so Kafka kind of gives him a salute, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna give it my all, my best to do whatever I can to, as an officer now, to help the defense force. And Hoshina is just like, cool. But what the hell are you gonna do with 1% of your power? He's just like, that's a cool sentiment, but you're at 1%. So what are you going to do about that? So he's just kind of like chuckling and just messing with them. But then after he does that, Hoshina kind of lightens up a bit. And he's like, well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to put 1% of my faith into you. So, you know, a little good, respectful moment between Kafka and Hoshina, kind of like building that camaraderie between them. So,
yeah,
a little cool scene. But again, as this show works, we go from one wholesome moment to, my God, what is that? We see a bunch of these freaking flying kaiju hovering, like flying right over the base. And on top of them is this mysterious other kaiju. That there's another humanoid looking one, like kaiju number 8 and number 9. And the episode ends with this new villain just saying, begin assault. And that's where episode 8 cuts off. So, what did you think of episode 8, DJ? Give me your thoughts. And give me your thoughts on what you thought of this small introduction to our new threats here.
It was another good episode. Good character development. Like that they, again, like I said before, that they showed the kind of the lighter side of the Force. Having a celebration for, the couple guys getting recovering from their injuries and stuff and being brought back on. And the fact that everybody, despite their competitive nature, pointing out like what each other could do differently to improve their capabilities and their fighting prowess and good interactions with the Vice Captain and Kafka. So, the dynamic there's really interesting because he's one of those characters that pretty much all the time that you see him, his eyes look like they're always closed, and obviously he's shown that he's a jokester and stuff like that, but it was good to see like what he's kind of capable of to do in combat, and gives a better understanding of that dynamic of his personality.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously with this force showing up at the end, it was like, what?
You're like, oh god, now what? Because you're thinking to yourself, all right, so like what? Number 9 is in the hiding now, so they're probably not gonna have to deal with another threat for a while now, right? Nope. Nope.
Right away.
Kaiju never rest. They're like, no, we're not giving you a time. We're not giving you a time of day to rest. Screw that. We're going right for it. So then, number 9, or episode 9, starts off with Hoshina kind of reminiscing about his fight with number 8, and he kind of talks about how number 8 looked like he was actually fighting like a human, like he wasn't going straight for the kill like most kaiju would do. Like he was actually trying to defend himself. So he's kind of taken aback by that. So that has him kind of in a kind of turmoil right now. And so we cut to Kafka. He's on top of the base outside, kind of just kind of like taking a moment to think. And
Get
so
some fresh air.
yeah, as he goes for a stretch and goes off the bed, he's greeted with this.
Yeah.
This freaking deep impact looking scene with so there's a bunch of like freaking fireballs that start coming down from the sky and just start leveling the place, waking all the other officers up. And it's realized these are not just like fireballs, but these are actually the flying kaiju that we saw in the previous episode. They just like start bombing themselves down to the ground, just destroying a bunch of the base. And
They're like Phoenix kaiju.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of look like that, and they just start freaking obliterating everything. And while all the officers are getting ready and preparing to counter this assault, Kafka takes notice of these kaiju because he recognizes them. He's had to clean them up before, I would suspect. So he kind of takes a moment to stare at them. He's like, wait a minute. These things don't travel in packs. They're usually like by themselves. And it's like a rarity too to even see this many like show up all at once.
Yeah.
So even he's just kind of like, this is like really, really weird. What's happening? And
like
he actually relates that. Yeah.
Yeah, he comments like at most you'd only see a few per year.
Yeah, exactly. Like these like kaiju like rarely show up. And so he kind of relays that same kind of a message to Hoshina. Tell them that whatever is doing this is strong enough to make them swallow their pride in order to like join up with each other.
Yeah.
Which, as Kafka says this, the new threat shows up. Which this new threat is actually, I don't think they ever say his name in the anime, but I know his name from the manga. His name is Kaiju number 10. So
I think I do remember them mentioning it because I know. I remember him being Kaiju number 10. I just don't remember where exactly it's mentioned, but I do remember somebody mentioning it.
Yeah. I know, it's character. Yeah.
Because I haven't read this, so the only way I would have known him as Kaiju number 10 is if somebody said it.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe I am wrong. Maybe somebody did say it. I'm just going to catch it. But this kaiju is referred to as number 10. So kaiju number 10. This is our new villain for now. And so he kind of just walks up next to two of the flying kaiju, like walking right next to him. And he's like, which one of you is the strongest human here? And Hoshina kind of mentions like, well, Min is off base right now, so I guess that's me. And so number 10 is just like, oh, that sounds cool. So then like this girl's freaking out too, because like Kaiju number 10 walks up and he has like a 8.3 fortitude. So like he's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Like he's almost like up there with Kafka. So immediately when she says that, you're like, oh, he's gonna be a problem then, isn't he?
Yep.
So the number 10 takes heed to Hoshina's words, saying like, I'm the strongest person here. He's like, okay, cool. So he literally like flicks his finger and it creates like a huge impact crater like right behind Hoshina and the two other officers behind him. Luckily, they like move out of the way just in time, but as they dodge, freaking Kaiju number 10 takes advantage of that and is just like, well, you're my prey now, so I'm gonna fight you. And tries to punch Hoshina, but again, Hoshina, our man, manages to dodge that attack. And so this kind of commences the fight between him and number 10. And so number 10 kind of opens up his eye, where like he didn't really have an eye, but he opens it up and like this like really like sparking blue kind of like one eye piece, and he like roars and he kind of releases like this sonar, like just calling to the other flying kaiju to kind of like get their attention. And so as soon as he does that, Hoshina takes notice of that. He's like, oh God, what is he doing? But as soon as he does that, Kaiju number 10 just goes immediately for like another attack, like trying to punch him, but Hoshina dodges it.
Yeah.
And so they just start going at it. Number 10's is like trying to throw several punches at Hoshina, but he keeps dodging them. Then we cut to the other officers trying to take down the flying kaiju, and they just release a bunch of energy attacks that just caused massive destruction all around the base. Like it's just full on chaos at this point. Which I want to discuss with you. What did you think of the first introduction to number 10, like him showing up and just the sheer amount of power he was displaying while fighting Hoshina at the beginning?
The design for him is very cool. Like I was thinking, like, okay, this one's like a dragon.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was surprising that we would get another powerful one so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
After 9. But yeah, just him going straight for the kill on Hoshima. It was definitely a cool fight scene, and gives us kind of a hint of what we're going to see next. And then the Phoenix Kaiju's attacks and stuff. Poor base.
No, the freaking base does not do so well in these like next couple episodes. It gets freaking decimated by this ambush. But yeah, so they start causing destruction. And so as all this is going on, Kafka manages to relay another message to the rest of the officers, like letting Reno and the rest of them know, like, listen, these things are like kind of weak at the back, so you kind of need to hit them from behind.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of takes heed to that. We cut to Aoi and what's this guy's name? Aoi and Haruichi trying to take on one of these Phoenix Kaiju, and they kind of go for like a sneak attack where Haruichi kind of like climbs a building while Aoi kind of acts as a distraction. But as Haruichi does this, another Phoenix Kaiju like literally pops up for a sneak attack and just blasts one of the energy attacks at Haruichi. He manages to dodge it, but he's like, oh great, these things are like working in tactics now, just like we are. Like they're not just acting mindless, like they're like planning on how to counter all this. So then we cut to Iharu trying to hold his own against one of them, and we see Kikuru like zoom past him, and she's like holding something. You're like, wait, what is that? And so she like goes straight for the attack and just freaking like puts down one of the Phoenix Kaiju like immediately. And you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And we get this full shot of her holding this huge axe. Just freaking awesome design, by the way. I love the design of this axe. The way it like glows and everything. I love that.
And she's like, and I love that she's like, yeah, it's just not my style. And everybody else is like, no, it is.
Yeah, you're like, no, it works. You're fine.
Yeah.
So then we kind of we have another flashback to her receiving this weapon. And she kind of makes mention about like, don't you think like it's a little too early to give me like a weapon of like this like magnitude? And both Hoshin and Armin are like, well, more kaiju are popping up like day in and day out now, so we kind of like need you guys to be ready for this. So she's just like, so they're both just like, take the weapon and just like use it for like these for like any kaiju, just like in case the situation calls for it. Because we don't know what like the future will hold. Because right now we have like number 8, we have number 9, so we don't know what other kind of kaiju are like coming for us. So we might as well be ready for it.
Yeah.
So then we cut to again to Kikuru just freaking decimating these Phoenix kaiju, knocking them all down. She like slashes another one and just it's the force of it is just so powerful that it explodes the back of it.
Yeah.
It's like the impact, like the intent, like the sheer power coming from this axe is insane. So like,
you gotta remember too that she's at like near power level 70, whereas
that is true.
The captain's like 96 and the vice captain's like 89, I think, or something like that.
I think it was 92.
Somewhere in that range.
He's like right around behind. 90. Yeah, he's like right behind Mina, but like Mina is like still like way above him.
Yeah.
But like, what did you think of like the introduction to like this new weapon from Kikuru?
It was really cool. You know, it was like you know, you don't really know like what kind of weapon designs they're gonna do and stuff, because mainly all you see is just the guns. So you know, and then you got Hoshina, that's the only one with blades that we've seen so far. So it was really exciting to see like another bladed weapon, and the fact that it's an axe, you know, just again shows that she's just got so much raw power. It's like in D&D, it would be like a barbarian. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. If Kikuru was a D&D character, she would definitely be barbarian class.
Yeah. So yeah, and to me, that's always cool.
Yeah. No, it is cool. Like I know I know you and I talked about like how strong female characters I handle, but like I think Kikuru is like a good example of a well written and like actually like well executed strong female character.
And they do a really good job of explaining why she's got so much power. She's literally the daughter of the head of the entire organization.
Yeah, the director general.
Yeah, and so like her whole life has been nothing but training, and the fact that she has her own like private suit, you know, is a testament to that. So like she's literally been training her whole life for this.
Yeah, exactly. And then so yeah, she's taking down all these things one by one, and one of the Phoenix Kaiju tries to go for another sneak attack, but luckily for her, Reno comes in and just fires it on the ground, and so they kind of like take this moment to tag team it, and so he freezes it while she goes for like a freaking full-on attack and just slices its head off.
Yeah.
And after that, she's like, you know what? Fine, Reno, you can tag team with me. Just don't slow me down. So then we have this really cool scene where it's like Reno and Kikuru about to go take down all these other Phoenix Kaiju slates. That's a really cool team up. I was happy to see them kind of like work together, because I didn't really get that much of a dynamic between them that much during the series so far. So like seeing this like a little moment between the two is really cool.
And it was nice to see his ice gun like actually freezing him up.
Yeah, exactly. Like actually doing like serious damage to like these kaiju.
Yeah.
So it's going on for all of them. Hoshina is having a little bit more trouble though with number 10. Number 10 is just like going after him, like not giving him a second to slow down. He's like throwing arrows at him and just punching him.
Purposely manipulating the direction that they're going though.
That is true, yes. Oh, yeah, that is true. As much as like Hoshina is like being put on the back foot, he does have a plan about why he is doing that. It's not because he's like scared or worried. It's just because like, no, like I can't really take him on with my full power when there's like other officers nearby, because they might get hurt in the process.
Yeah.
So I just got to lure him away from the more populated area. And so he kind of gets this awesome moment between number 10 and Hoshina, kind of just like throwing rapid swings at each other. number 10's trying to take him out while Hoshino is like blocking each of the attacks, evading all of them. Then we see that then we see that freaking Hoshina leads number 10 back to the exam area that we saw in episode 4. Episode 3 and 4. So we see him lead number 10 back, and number 10 is like jumps on top of one of the doors and just crushes it immediately. So that, again, giving better understanding about how powerful this new kaiju is. You're like, oh my god, Hoshina, call Kafka now. We need him now. So number 10 like immediately goes from like one building to the next and goes for like a good old sneak attack.
What was really funny about that moment too was while he's hanging off the door, Hoshina's like, "Do you know how expensive those are?"
Again, Hoshina is just like, again, you barely see any like kind of like fear from Hoshina in this series. It's just like, damn it, come on, man, why you gotta break the door down like that? Come on.
We have
a more bigger fight. Kaiju number 10 is just not having any bit. He's like, I don't care. I just want to kill you.
Yeah.
So he throws this like good old punch at Hoshina and like sends him flying like a good distance. And you're like, oh, is he okay? And as soon as like number 10 does that, we just see his arm like fall off.
Yeah.
And he's like, you weren't kidding. You are strong. Like he actually compliments Hoshina for once. And Horse is like, well, that was my plan from the start. Lead us here so I can take you down with my full power. And so as soon as this shows up, you're like, oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to go full force in this, man. So really cool moment right there for Hoshino. Then we cut back to one of the other characters, Minasa, I think her name is. She's one of the other female officers. She gets knocked down by the Phoenix Kaiju. And it's about to like just destroy her. But then Kafka shows up and at first not be able to make it. He just transforms his legs to Kaiju and like just zooms right to Minasa and like manages to grab her just in time before the blast goes off. And even she was just like, wow, that was fast. Like, I thought you were only at 1%. How are you able to do that? And Kafka's just like, well, that's what happens when you're an officer, I guess. It's like, I guess like a thumbs up while he's like doing that. The freaking Phoenix guy just like lighting up another blast behind him, and he's like, turn around. But thankfully, just in the nick of time, Kiguru shows up and just bashes that thing out of the way. Well, both her and Reno show up at the same time. Yeah. And even Reno kind of makes a comment to Kafka, just like, don't worry, we can handle this. You don't have to push yourself. So it's kind of like bigger references like, don't transform. We can handle this, all right? Just don't. And so Kafka,
hint, wink, wink.
Exactly. It's literally what it felt like to me. But then we get like this really cool moment where this cuts to all the other officers taking down the Phoenix Kaiju, and we see some more officers show up to help out. Some like veteran officers they mention like show up to help out in the fight.
Other squad leaders.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a cool moment right there where they all show up, and Kafka and the other girl leave to go help out whoever they can, and Kafka's just like, this is awesome. This is what I wanted to be when I was just a kid. Like, this is amazing. Seeing all these like awesome people just take down these kaiju, and we're doing it all together. Like, this is great. So that's like a really cool, like, I wouldn't describe it as wholesome, but it's like a really cool and like empowering moment for like our crew of characters. Yeah. Like, you think like with all this chaos going on, you think like they're not going to be able to like hold their own, but they are. They're doing like really well against most of these Phoenix Kaiju. So you're like, good. Then we cut back to Hoshina and number 10 just going at it again, just freaking trying to take each other down. But this time Hoshina is actually doing a lot better here. He's actually slicing up number 10 really well. As you can see here, he like leaves like a huge X in his chest. And it's just like going for like full frontal attacks with number 10.
And doing all sorts of weird or move call-outs.
Yeah, it reminded me of Demon Slayer, how they would like call out their like attacks, like breathing form or something. They like
Yeah.
mention like in Demon Slayer they have like different like attack patterns, like
Yeah.
different styles of attack, and they kind of like call it like second form, like Blazing Universe. That's one of their names, but like to kind of remind me of that. So he's just calling out like a bunch of like fourth form, like rapid slasher or something like that. I don't know, but he's just like slicing number 10 into pieces. But being a kaiju, number 10 has regenerative abilities, so he manages to regenerate his arms. And right here, this is his head like hanging down, but he managed to like heal that part of his neck that got destroyed, so he's just repairing himself.
Yeah.
So Hoshin is just like, cool, whatever, I don't care, I'm just gonna keep slashing you, and just keeps zooming around. It's like slicing number 10 like as much as he can. Like, it's a really cool moment, like just seeing Hoshin just like go full out against kaiju this powerful.
And he's doing all this to try and find his core.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just slicing him around, and we like get this really cool moment, this really awesome, really well animated moment with Hoshin is going for like one more final attack, and it's just like this blur of like streaks of light happening.
Yeah.
And he actually manages to just like almost completely annihilate number 10. And the control room's all cheering for him. They're like, yeah, Captain, get him. But as soon as that happens, this main girl's just like, wait, this isn't good. And Hoshin's just like, it's not over yet. He's like, oh God, it's not over yet. Oh Lord. And then we got the Kafka, and he's kind of freaking out a bit. Like his head is hurting because he senses this new power level increasing.
Because I think 10 lets out another like roar too.
Does he?
Yeah, I think.
I don't think it was a roar. I think it was just because I'll show it right here. Because number 10, what's happening is that number 10 basically turns into this. He's just like increasing his size at this point. So I think because of that like rapid increase of power, I think is like, because I think what is it? Because I think Kafka won't react that much. I think if the power level didn't like suddenly surge up like immensely.
Yeah.
Because I think he can spell this as a threat. Because I feel like any kaiju that is below his level, I think his kaiju side will like just deem that like not a threat. It's like whatever, I can just take them down easily. But I think if they like match up almost to his fortitude or just like above it, I think that's like when his like senses start going haywire and he just starts.
Yeah, it's kind of like the quickening from Highlander.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen Highlander, but yes.
So in the Highlander series, when one immortal is in the area of another one, there's some kind of sense. They can sense each other.
Mm-hmm.
That there's another immortal in the area. And
okay.
It doesn't tell them who it is. It just tells them that there's somebody there.
All right.
So it's kind of like the same thing.
No, okay. Yeah, but yeah, no. Kafka's kind of freaking out a bit. He's kind of he's grabbing his head, like this experiencing the worst headache ever. And number 10 is just turned into this monstrosity, and you're like wondering, like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is he doing? And like all these like big bulges like start growing mouths, and he starts spewing out like this hot steam. That Hoshin has to like really put his mask on and try to like keep himself from like passing out or breathing any of it in. And as Hoshin is backing away, we see that number 10 has grown to full on Godzilla size.
Yeah.
He's just like, you know what? Because like Hoshin, I forgot to mention this too, but Hoshin was mentioned earlier that Kaiju number 10 was actually enjoying the fight between the two of them. Like it wasn't just like he was trying to kill Hoshin, but also he was like having fun while fighting him also.
Yeah.
So number 10 is just like, oh, screw it. I was trying to make this fun, but now you're just being annoying. So I'm just going to turn into this big kaiju form and just try to kill you. So that's where the episode just kind of ends with number 10 just appearing gigantic and roaring. And that's where episode 9 ends.
And there was earlier on in the series, he does mention that he hates the giant kaijus. And it comes back in the next episode. Like,
that's right. Yeah. No, he mentions that in the next episode where he's like, this is why I hate fighting the big ones.
Yeah.
You can barely get a good slash on them. Yeah, but yeah. So what'd you think of episode 9? What did you think of the kind of like finale between Hoshina and number 10, and like with number 10 like turning gigantic at the very end?
Yeah, when it started bubbling up, I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought it was going to go like, you know, thought it was just going to explode or something like that.
Bloom, yeah.
Um, and then when it, especially when like all the mouths started opening, I was like, okay, is it changing like its form completely? You know, what the heck's going on? And then when you see this, it was like, oh, okay. Just that was his way of going giant size.
Yes,
So
make my monster growl,
yeah,
as Pulsa would say.
yep. So yeah, it was definitely a cool fight between the two of them. Um, you know, it was really nice, or you know, really smart that he maneuvered them to the test zone, so that way you can just kind of go full bore and not have to worry about collateral damage.
Yeah, and the animation too on all of Hoshino's slices was really really good too.
Yeah,
And that final slash he like gave him before he turned gigantic was like awesome. It
yeah,
just looks so like aesthetically appealing, just like seeing like the impact frames and everything going on when he did that final attack. I was like, "Yep, this is cool."
Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, that was number 9, episode 9. I mean,
yep.
so you have your
All right.
slides.
Yep. Let me open that up. So I wasn't sure what you were gonna uh, get um, with your slides. So at the start of episode 10, they obviously recap it. So I grabbed a couple of those shots just to.
Yeah, we just get like a quick recap about this is really good. This is like really HD. What the hell? Yeah, but yeah, wow, God, the image looks so crisp. What did you do? What? Why does it look better quality than mine? Wow. All right, I see. Yeah, but like, yeah, no, we just get like a quick little recap about number 10 turning gigantic and whatnot. And then we just cut to, then we continue on with the fight between Hoshina and number 10 with
Yeah,
like the control room now getting a better look at what happened. Number 10, they're like, oh my God, he's huge.
yeah,
what, Captain Hoshina, I think you might need to get out of there. Because like they know him. Like Hoshina can do really well against the medium-sized kaiju, the smaller ones. But even they're just like, I don't know if he could take down one that size though. Like they need like Captain Mina to come back. And so yeah, but what happens then is number 10 just starts sending the Phoenix Kaiju, and they start like dive bombing. Like literally they like throw themselves at Hoshina and just start exploding on impact. And Hoshina's just like, ah crap. He's just trying to evade all of them.
so he makes his way through some buildings and tries
Yeah.
to come up to him from behind.
And he's just trying to like slash him as best he can. But again, Hoshina, like, oh yeah, crap. I think those are like his eyes that like pop out from his back. He's still Hoshina's just like, oh god. Because Kaiju number 10 is like, nope, you're not getting me with that sneak attack again.
Yeah,
So yeah, so like at that moment, I think Hoshina kind of gets knocked back, and as he does, we get like a little flashback into his past, where we see, I'm going to presume this is him and his father talking.
yeah,
And Hoshina's father kind of makes a comment. It's like the age of the blade is like over. Like back then, and I forget what period he mentions, but like back then you would have been like a great swordsman, but now with like the advancements and everything like that and technology, like basically like the sword is no longer like a viable option in
yeah.
combat.
I want to say he mentions like the Edo period, but I could
I
be
think
wrong.
so. I think he, or the Shindo period. I don't know, one two.
So, but Yeah, and yeah. So, and this is kind of like the first of multiple instances where he's basically being told that he's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, with his specialty. So all the people in the control room, especially the girl, are kind of like freaking out a bit. They think Hoshin's gone, but Hoshin's just like, "No, you're not rid of me yet. Don't worry." So Kaiju number 10, this starts going on like a full-on rampage. And Hoshin's is like, "All right, I'll get back up." Just immediately gets blasted back by one of the exploding Phoenix Kaiju.
Yeah.
And then we get another good flashback.
So,
First we had another flashback, yeah. Where first we had another flashback where he was told like, "You're not gonna be able to join the defense force. They're like relying on guns. You're just relying on blades. That's not gonna do that very well." And then because this, oh yeah, no, here you go.
Yeah, so he basically gets rejected by a couple people. Like,
Yeah,
shows him through his age, like first his father, and then like couple captains and stuff. Like he was good enough to make it into the force, but they're like, "You're a blade specialist. You're not going to do anything."
yeah.
So this is his first interview with Mina, and she's talking to him, about how blades are kind of uncommon. He's like, "Here it comes. I'm going to get rejected again." And she's like, "It's exactly what I was looking for."
And it's kind of like, huh? And she kind of mentions like, well, I would still need somebody to take care of the smaller kaiju. So will you be like right hand and like help me take them down? And so like, even though she does bring a good point, like I think a lot of the other people were kind of thinking about the bigger kaiju, but at the same time, like you do realize that they're not all big, right? They're like there's smaller ones that need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So
And that's funny too, because she's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't even trust myself with a knife in the kitchen." So,
yeah, she was like, I just need somebody who's a specialist at this.
and basically says, "I need you to cut a path in front of me."
Yep.
So, unfortunately, he gets captured.
Yep. He's like, I'm gonna take you down. And just grab like number 10 again. Number 10 is like, I'm gonna kill you now. I think I've had enough of you. And Kafka arrives on the scene, and he's about to transform fully to take down number 10 and help Hoshina.
Well, he's rushing to it.
He's rushing to it. Like he's about to he's like running at the same time while he's transforming. But as this is happening, Hoshina kind of makes a remark that's like, you were saying I was the strongest one? Well, I was, but now she's here. And so freaking Mina shows up with her BFG and her tiger.
Yeah.
And just freaking, yeah.
So, and what's cool is they show the tiger acting as like a stop.
Yes.
The shockwave from her gun forces her back.
Powerful that like the tiger needs to be there, like hold her up, which I think is such an awesome detail.
Yeah.
So yeah, she like literally like just freaking blasts like number 10's arm right off, and he's like, ah, damn it. He's like, ah. And so Hoshina tries to go for like a couple more slashes, but Kiguru then appears and tries to help him out. At first, her axe doesn't do anything, but he's like, no, hit him again. So he like does a quick few slashes, and as he does, she actually that gives her like some like open space, like make a cut.
So what he does is his blades and his power allows him. So something else that we forgot to mention, his suit is overheating.
Yeah.
So he's no longer at full force. He's at his normal power level.
Yeah. But so is her suit, actually, I think, too. Like, her suit is getting pretty overheated as well.
Well, after this attack, it does.
Yeah, after this attack.
So, but his blades are still able to slice through the armor or the shell that Kaiju number 10 has. And so he does that to create like a weak point, so that way her attack can shatter it.
Yeah. So it's a cool like maneuver that they got going on. So she manages to like just freaking like slice his leg, and that actually lands Kaiju number 10 on his feet. I mean, on his like knees. So he's down for a bit, and so
which gives Mina an opportunity to shoot him in the back.
Yeah.
So
again,
and then, so everybody's like, hey, we gotta keep the pressure on him to prevent him from fully healing up to give her a chance to blast him one more time.
Yeah, I think they gotta like put him like in the right line of sight too for her.
Yeah,
because it did with the mushroom kaiju, so it's like try to distract him.
But at the same time, the Phoenix kaiju start flying around to try and block, so the rest of the soldiers are starting to shoot them. Like
trying to they're just trying to give Mina as much space as possible in order for her to like get a clear shot.
Yeah. So
number 10 is like
and Hoshino is still just going berserk and like pushing himself.
Like his voice actor goes insane during this part. He's just like keep moving, do not stop, move, body. Like he's just pushing himself to just attack number 10 as much as possible.
Yeah. So it gets to this point, and that's basically the opening that they needed.
Yeah, and Mina's just like powering up like full force, and she just freaking boom, just freaking shoots it and just explodes number 10, just like completely destroys him. With like his head just like flying through the air. He's like, oh God, why?
Yeah.
I'm in incredible pain. So they win, they succeed, they manage to take down number 10.
And so yeah, we get what everybody's kind of like, whew, that was a good one.
Yeah, they're like, oh, thank God.
So bandaging up, and right before it cuts to this, it shows Mina, Hoshino, and Kurosuke, the blonde girl, all saluting each other and talking. And so Kafka's like, he's like, this is so awesome. This is what I always wanted.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, this is so great, man. Like, he's just tearing up. And Red was just like, you look embarrassing. And he's like, why are you going to talk crap about me in my emotional moment here, man? But yeah, it's a very like funny scene between Redo and Kafka. So, but all of a sudden, as they're like all chipper and all happy that number 10's down, Mina's tiger starts growling, and you're like, wait, what the hell? And all of a sudden, all the Phoenix Kaiju start like collecting with each other, and it's formed this like massive like Yoju bomb, as they call it. That's like almost the equivalent of a nuke.
Yeah.
And like number 10's just like, I believe this is what you all call a draw, eh? So he's just getting ready to like, all right, I failed, but they're not. But I'm just gonna drop this bomb on you because I suck. So have fun with that. So they're all like, oh God, what do we do? Like, we're all tired right now. Like, our suits are like basically burning up. So then, you know what that means? Freaking Kafka has to take on this role and just transforms into number 10 right in front of, number 8 right in front of everybody. So, and everybody's like, what the
Well, right before he transforms, he bolts right past all of them, still in his human form. And Hishuru is like, what the heck? How is he moving this fast at 1%?
Yeah, because Hoshina is just like, Kafka, what are you doing? What do you think you're going to be able to do against this? And then Kafka just starts jumping up like this pile of like rubble, like extremely fast. And Hoshina is like, wait, hang on. That doesn't seem right. How the hell is a 1% able to do all of that? And so when he jumps in midair, he just fully transforms. And they're all just like, what the hell? They're all like, oh my God, Kafka is number 8, which of course is no surprise to Reno and Kikuru. They're just both shocked that he actually transformed in front of everybody else.
And then, and he starts yelling at Kafka like, "There's no coming back from this."
And Kafka's just like, I know, but I'd rather like use this power to protect everybody than just stay behind and just let this bomb drop. So then, in one of the coolest moments in the entire show, Kafka just goes full Super Saiyan and just freaking rockets himself up to like the bomb, and just punches that shit back into in air, and it explodes. And like the animation too of like when it explodes and you see all the clouds just like disperse is insane. It's like, oh my god, that would have been so much worse if he didn't punch it up into the air.
Yeah.
And it's even worse with how far he punched up in the air because like almost the entire like testing arena is like blown to bits from it.
Yeah. So one thing I want to add is when he goes to punch this, it's just like in One Punch Man when he goes to punch the meteor.
I was literally about to say it too. Like when I was reading the manga, that's literally the first thing that popped into my head when I read the manga. I was like, oh my god, this is just like One Punch Man. I will say though, I think the manga is better with this scene than the anime. Don't get me wrong, the anime is still cool, but I think the drawings and like the full kind of like, I think like
there's something magical about how they draw it compared to how it can be translated into animation.
Yeah, well, I think they still could have animated it like amazingly. I think if they like went the route with like when Saitama punched the meteor, but with Kafka doing it instead, like I think it would have looked amazing. I just think they kind of like held back a little bit on the animation when he like fully punched it.
Could be.
It still looked great, but I think like I just felt more of like that punch to me like when I read the manga when he like just full on like pounded it into the sky.
Yeah.
So
and right before it goes off, Mina tells everybody to activate their shields to maximum.
Yeah, because like she knows that even though Kafka punched it, it's still gonna like be a pretty big explosion. So like they need to like prepare for that.
Yeah.
So then Kafka manages to land back on the ground, and when he does, you just have like this whole scene of the testing arena get blown away. All the buildings come crumbling down. Kafka is standing in front of these two soldiers and actually manages to just block most of the damage from getting to them.
Yeah.
Which is actually like a very like insane power feat where like it's just it's like the aftermath of a nuke, and yet he's still able to stand there just completely still and just take it all in.
Yeah, again creating a barrier like he did before.
Yeah, what he did with Kikuru and that one kaiju like fired its beam at her.
Yep. And then we get this.
Yes. Everybody's just like, and Amina shows up and she's like, Kafka, even though you're under arrest, and they all just point.
Well, she starts to say Kafka, and then she stops.
She starts to say Kafka, but then she just says, Kaiju number 8, you're under arrest. And so Kafka's just like, he like looks back at them in like this very tired, defeated look because he used so much of his power to just punch that thing away. So he's just exhausted at this point. He's like, okay, fine. So that marks the end of episode 10.
Yep.
What do you think of episode 10, DJ?
Very cool. It was great to see everybody coming together to take down the giant kaiju. Kaiju number 10, the teamwork that they used to fight him. And then was really surprised to see, like, because he lets out, when he gets decapitated, he lets out a roar. And, nobody thinks of anything. You don't even think of anything. You just think it's death scream. And it's like, nope. He was telling him, hey, create this suicide bomb.
Yep.
And they do show a couple of them flying in and like fusing with it.
Yeah.
So, and you knew at some point Kafka was going to have to transform into Kaiju number 8 again. So,
because you knew, because you had a feeling, you were like, eventually at one point he's got to transform in front of everybody during like a very huge crisis moment, and he does. So,
and then the fact that he sprouts all these rocket ports on his legs and arms to take off and stuff was really cool.
Yeah, it looked pretty well done. So then cut to episode 11 where starts off with the more higher up officials of the defense force talking about number 8 and how like it was like basically a human that kind of infiltrated the defense force, and like this doesn't happen before. First of all, this has never ever happened. So the fact that kaiju actually managed to get inside our defenses, they're like worried about this, even though the fact that Kafka is like not really someone they should worry about as he is their ally. But like at this point, they're just like, we don't know what the hell he is. Like, is he a human or is he a kaiju? But they're leaning more towards kaiju at this point.
Yeah.
And we kind of get like an introduction to well, not really an introduction, but like we get reacquainted with Kikaru's father, Director General, where he's like Kaiju number 8 is like, bring him over here to our facility for testing or something like that.
Yeah. And I love the camera work that they have, that they managed to get this shot.
Well, that's in every anime. They're like, okay, how the hell did you get that shot? Or they just reuse shots from the previous or footage from the previous episode and just pretend it's camera footage. It's like, no,
I know. But
how did anybody get that? There was no cameraman there in front of Kafka recording them. There was no drone. Ow.
At least none that they were showing us.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, they did have that one aerial view of the Kaiju number 10 at some point, but it's like...
Yeah, but again, that makes more sense because, like, it's not just reused footage.
Yeah.
It's like a different POV.
It just always cracks me up when stuff like this pops up.
No, I know. It's funny, though. It's just like, how?
So...
Yeah. Then we cut the Kafka. Not in his best moment right now. He's kind of locked up in his chair, just being held on to until they come pick him up. Which Hoshin and Mina do. And he tries to talk to both of them, but they're not hearing any of it. And it just like leads him to like this transport truck outside where all the rest of the squadron is there standing by. And it's a very kind of somber moment as nobody's saying anything. It's just Kafka just kind of dwelling in this moment of like, what's going to happen to me? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if like any of them like really trust me anymore now. So,
yeah. And I thought I got a screenshot of it, but I didn't of Shiru like calling out to him at the last moment.
Oh, Reno?
Yeah, Reno. Jeez. I can't get it.
There you go. Yeah, no. Yeah, but no, like when Kafka like is about to enter the truck, he's thinking that Reno doesn't like trust him anymore either. That like he disappointed him, but then Reno steps out and just goes, "I have faith he'll come back, sir." And so Kafka is kind of like, he feels better, a little better after hearing that. Even like as the doors close, Mina's just like, talked out a point of turn. 50 push-ups when I see him again. And we kind of get this little heartfelt moment where Mina's just like, none of the team thinks you're an enemy. They all know that you risked your life to save everyone. Like, we all would have been dead if you didn't punch that thing out of the sky.
Yeah.
But at this point, she's like, it's not my call to make, though. Like, this is kind of out of my jurisdiction. Like, I can't really do anything else. But she does mention how, like, she is going to build a case for Kafka in favor of him to prove that he's not the enemy that the higher-ups believe him to be.
Yep.
Yeah. We get another little cool moment where they're driving off and they all salute to Kafka while the transport buses leave.
And there's like one of the council members is there. And
and he's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "Don't worry." And like Hoshin is like, "Mina's our commanding officer. We're saluting her." He's like, "Okay, good. I thought you were guys saluting the kaiju because that would be stupid."
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we cut to this scene where we kind of see the repairs going on.
Clean
back
up.
at the testing area. And
no, that was in the base area.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, the testing area.
They're both relatively close to each other. Yeah, but yeah, no, the repairs are being done, and we cut to our little group here talking to each other, kind of like still trying to go over the fact that Kafka revealed himself to be Kaiju number 8. And And like Ihuru kind of thinks back into two. He's like, well, that makes a little more sense
Yeah.
about why he was acting that way at the hospital. And like they're kind of mentioning like, well, how come they don't just like reveal that Kafka is Kaiju number 8? But freaking samurai cut hair man mentions this like, well, if they did reveal that number 8 was Kafka or Kafka was number 8, that would cause a whole white panic because then everybody would just be like, okay, well then who else could be a kaiju in the skies?
Yeah.
So that brings up a good point from Haruichi.
Because he mentions that then we would be going from them just popping out of the ground randomly to being anybody that's you're walking next to.
Yeah, like being like a neighbor, basically.
Yeah.
That would just cause like a whole like global catastrophe. Then we see Hoshina and another captain kind of talking with each other, and Hoshina is just like an idiot, had to go on and do that. He toyed with me too last time we fought, so next time we fight each other, we're going full out. So it kind of gives the impression it's like Hoshina also has faith that Kafka will come back to the force and they'll be able to take each other on for another fight with full power now. So Kiguru kind of goes in, tries to talk to her dad, tries to put in a good word for Kafka, but he's not hearing any of it. He's just like, here, you know what? Before you give me your idiotic point of view, look at this. Like hands over this like pamphlet, and it like shows this X-ray of Kafka, and it shows that he does have a core like any other kaiju. And even Kikuru was kind of surprised by that. She's like, oh my god. And he's like, so if that's all you're gonna say to me, get out.
Yeah.
So her father just tells her, enough, get out. Then we cut to Kafka back at the new base now, where all the hierarchy are at. Yeah, where they were asking him to bring him in, and so Kafka's just waiting there. They just like been holding on to him for a few days now, so he's just staying there.
Doing physical tests on him.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of just testing him, experimenting on him to see what the deal is. Then a little 4 trio here is called in by Mina, and she says that they're all going to be split up, be put in different squadrons. And at first they're kind of just like, why? Why the hell are you going to do that? I mean, it's just like, well, it's just because the whole thing is happening right now. But also kind of have a theory that it's because they all would probably vote for Kafka or speak for him. So they're like, if we split them up, then maybe we'll have a better time of keeping them in line instead of trying to talk Kafka out of any serious punishment.
Yeah. She points out that the base is 75% destroyed.
Yeah.
So not exactly operational. And she does mention that it was something that was in discussion beforehand.
Mm.
And so she says that Kafka had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Right.
And so pink spiky hair guy says I'm refusing.
Yeah, but Reno immediately just says, I'll transfer, I'll go. And Hiro was kind of just like, what the hell, man? And Reno's just like, I'll just do it, I'll go.
So, and then this is what I was referring to earlier about the full circle with these two.
Ioway and Haruichi kind of meet up on, Ioway tries to make a call. I think it might be to his father at first, because I think that's what. Oh, it's not.
Oh wait, which one?
Not bad. Haruichi was trying to make a call to his father. I think
that's the green haired.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Haruichi was trying to make a call to his father. It was all in Japanese. There was no translation for any of the names on his phone, so I was just thinking that he's probably going to call his dad.
Yeah.
But then Ioway shows up, and he's actually talking to one of his I think previous commanders to see if he could do anything about the situation. But he's saying But he basically just tells Hariichi like, don't hold out hope, because I don't think like he can really do that much for it. So they both just kind of like sit and sulk, and they're just like, well, we'll just wait and see what happens now with
Yeah.
Kafka.
And Samurai guy is surprised that he was doing it, and he's like, "Well, I said that I'm going to bring everybody home."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, again, reminiscing about like what they were talking about couple of previous episodes back.
Yeah.
So then we come back to the testing facility with Kafka, and Kikuru's father shows up in this suit, and he basically just tells him release the restraints on Kaiju number 8. And,
This
and oh yeah, this was terrifying, and this was I would be so terrified if he looked at me like this. So like he tells him to take the restraints off of him, of Kafka. And one of the people in the control room was just like, "Is that such a good idea?" He's like, "You really want to see what happens when you disobey me?" And he's like, "No, okay, sir." So they just like release Kafka like immediately after that. And Kafka tries to explain himself, but as soon as he gets up, freaking Kikuru's father like holds out a gun and starts shooting him, but the kaiju arm pops up and blocks all of the hits. And he's like, "Wait, listen, I'm human." But Kikuru's dad's not hearing any of it, and just like lunges at him and just like rips off a piece of his skin and puts in like a little like capsule. And is like, any creature that can stop bullets with its skin is not human. So I don't care what you're gonna say to me.
Yeah.
So at this point, he's not hearing any of it, and so they pull out these like freaking fist gauntlets for Kikuru's dad to put on. And they're mentioned later that these are actually made from a previous kaiju,
number 2.
kaiju number 2, yeah, that they attacked in like the 70s. So Kikuru's dad then like lights himself up, and he just goes full on attack mode on Kafka. You see him powering up right here, and Kafka's just like, "Oh, this is not gonna be good." And it's cool because we actually see like a pretty cool visualization of like Kaiju number 2's like hand pop up like right in front of him, and like it slams down the ground, and Kafka just turns into this, and even Kikuru's dad's just like, "Look, Joe, you're looking less human by the minute." And after this, it just becomes a one-sided duel between the two of them.
And what's interesting about the gauntlets, it just popped in my mind. Did you ever see the Final Fantasy Advent Children movie?
I did not.
Okay. So in the movie, there's these 3 guys that pop up, and they're like remnants of Sephiroth.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have like different weapons, and one of them has a gauntlet that has something very similar, like the spikes on top. So it just kind of reminded me of that. So,
but yeah, Kikuru's dad just starts lighting him up, and this is what Kaiju number. This is what I was talking about when you saw Kaiju number's hand pop up for a second. It's like kind of like a visualization of the kaiju, and this is like number 2's face showing up for like a quick second, and then we get like a cool little flashback to like explanation of number 2, where it was like this very destructive, very powerful kaiju that was so stubborn. They mentioned that it literally would not give up until like its final breath, and it just caused like a bunch of damage. And so it's basically just kind of like the Godzilla of this world. And so then Kikuru's dad starts beating down on Kafka, just not giving him a second to fight back, and it's just punch after punch after punch, and it's just like, again, the animation too is like really good with just showing the sheer amount of power and force that Kikuru's dad is just lighting Kafka up with each punch.
There's so much that goes on that was so hard to capture because it's like on the screen for a split second.
No, I know, that's why. That's a lot of the fight scenes too that I had to take screenshots of. Like so much of it like happened like really quickly. I was like, damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, like Kafka tries to make a run for it, but he looks down, both of his legs are just gone, and so Shinmu's dad just goes, Here, have another one. Pop! Just punches him again. Well, actually, he goes for another punch right here, but as you see, Kafka just goes full kaiju and blocks it. And I love the theme here where it's like, it's the Kaiju number 8 theme. So it's the same kind of like hero theme,
Mm-hmm.
but it's changed. It's like a much more darker and much more ominous. And you're like, uh-oh, that's not good. Because even Kiku's just like, oh, yeah, he's in his kaiju form. And then she's like, wait,
Something's wrong.
something doesn't seem right. It doesn't really seem like he's in control. And he's not. We
Yeah.
then cut to freaking Kafka kind of like in the inner turmoil of the kaiju. And he's like, where am I? Like, this isn't good. Like, this doesn't seem good. And so the little fly thing that popped up in episode 1 that went down his throat shows up, and basically this says, "Kaiju, kill Kaiju," and Cox's Kaiju form just goes full on berserk, and just goes right for Shinomi's dad. Like, it's like that shot right there. Like the animation too on that, where like it's just that black ink going over him while he's running. Like literally reminded me of like Berserker or something. And so, yeah, Kikuru is just freaking out, and she's like, "Prove you're human, prove you're Kafka, even out." She's like freaking out, and the episode just ends with Kafka, with this shot of Kafka just looming over her dad, and that's the end of episode 11.
Yep.
So what'd you think of episode 11, DJ? What'd you think? And also, what did you think of the final, like, what did you think of that, like, one-sided fight between Kikuru's dad and Kafka?
So, again, it was another interesting episode that, we get some good character development in. We have the quiet moments at the beginning. We see, everybody's kind of depressed that Kafka was taken, but they understand. And, so they're all kind of dealing it with it in their own little ways. And then, the fact that Kikuru goes to her dad to try and, appeal and starts to say, like, "Daddy," and then goes, "No, I got to, like, do this officially," and, refers to him by his proper title and everything. And then again reverts back to, saying, "Hey, Dad, like, consider this," and everything before she leaves. Just again showing the dynamics of that group. And then when he walked in, I was like, okay, and when he pulled out the gauntlets and everything and put them on, and the armor just starts going up his arm and stuff, it was like, that is some cool weaponry.
Yeah. Then you're thinking to yourself too, you're like, oh, this can't be good.
No. And like, while this is all going on, I didn't take screenshots of it, but like you were mentioning, she's watching, and there's other council members that are sitting in the observation room, and one of them is like, "Yeah, he's like the strongest one," and
yeah, like it was our strongest soldier back in the day,
and he's been the only one that's been capable of actually wielding Kaiju number 2 gauntlets.
Yeah, because I think they mentioned that nobody else was able to do it until he came along.
Yeah,
which is again gives another like insane detail to how strong her dad is. You're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
You're like, Kafka, run, dude, just run. I don't think we're able to handle this.
And I mean, he's jacked too. Yeah, no, he's not like a small guy.
He's a big dude. Like, he's huge.
Yeah. So that on top of like what the gauntlets had and everything is just nuts. And yeah, it was admirable for Kafka to try and like hold out as long as he did and stuff, but he took way too much damage, which is why what happened here happens. Yep. So on to episode 12.
Yes.
Finale.
So episode 12 starts off with Reno and Ihuru kind of working out. Reno's just kind of pushing himself, and Reno's just like, and Ihiru's just like, "Are you sure that's such a good idea?" And Reno just telling him like, "I told him I told Kafka before that I'm gonna get stronger. Like I have to get stronger so that way he doesn't have to keep using this Kaiju ability all the time.
Well, no, he says that he wants to get stronger so that way he can protect Kafka next time
Yeah.
because he's always protected him.
Mm.
So,
And then we see Mina approach the table that the officials were sitting at earlier. And so she's like, I'm here for the board meeting. I'm like, Kafka, even though they're like, all right, cool. Wait here. And so she's like about to take a seat. And they're like, no. We didn't say you could take a seat. We just said that just wait.
yeah.
Right? They're in the middle of testing him right now. Which is like, okay.
Shows they're, it's like, yeah, you guys are proving that you're kind of a-holes.
No, they are. Well, all of them except for, I would say, like the three. Kikuru's dad's, like, main, like, two that sit right next to them.
Yeah.
And her dad himself. Because, like, at first he starts off a jerk, but, like, he kind of has, like, a deeper, he kind of has, like, more, like, characteristics to him later on in this episode that we find out. But, yeah, back to this chaotic moment. Kafka just goes full-on rage mode, just roaring and everything like that. And so he tries to go for, like, a full-on punch. And Kikuro's dad is like, look at him now. He's attacking like an animal. Like, he's not even aware of the openings he's leaving. And immediately as he says that, Kaiju No just, like, turns 360 degrees, like, ripping his spine out from his back. And then just repairs himself. And he's like, oh, my God, he just destroyed his own back to attack me. This is not... You know what? Maybe I shouldn't think rationally or else I'm going to probably die.
Yeah.
And so he's, like, Kaiju No is just going, like, full on. And he just starts just, like, rapidly punching Kikuru's dad the entire time.
Which has got her screaming.
Yeah, this is her freaking out. She's like, oh, this is not good. This is like, oh, God. And she's, like, freaking out. And so, yeah, Kaiju No. So then they both, like, kind of collide their fists together, and that creates, like, a huge shockwave. And they're like, oh, God, this thing about to come down. Or like, calm down. This thing is, like, able to withstand a bunch of damage. Just let them have it. And so we just see them, like, exchange, like, rapid punches with each other. And one of Kikuru's dad's, like, leading officials or commanders, it's kind of just like, huh. It's almost as if Kaiju number 2 and number 8 are, like, fighting across time, just going at it with each other. Just a full-on Kaiju versus Kaiju fight.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I love that shot too. I don't know if you got it, but like of Kaiju number 8 staring down the, like, holographic image of, like, number 2, and they're, like, kind of roaring at each other. But, like, yeah, there's this, like, shot of, like, them roaring at each other. But unfortunately for Kikuru's dad, Kaiju number 8 just starts getting the better of him and just starts freaking punching the hell out of him. Just starts getting opening shots at him and turns into that monstrosity.
Yeah.
At first, I thought Kaiju number 8's design was cool, but when he turns into this, I'm like, oh, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
And so Kikuru's dad just goes on full frontal assault and is just trying to take... He's just trying to do everything he can at this point. Because, like, Kaiju number 8 is just going full rampage mode. And so he's just, like, using all his arsenals to his ability. He's, like, shocking him with his punches and whatnot. But Kaiju number 8 is just not having any of it and, like, just grabs Kikuru's dad and just starts slamming him down, like, one after the other, kind of like what Hulk did to Loki in Avengers, slamming him back and forth. And Kikuru is just like, oh my God.
And it shows how much he's grown.
Oh, I know, his size too, yeah, but especially. Like, he's just gigantic. He's, like, huge.
Yeah, and the fact that her dad is just so tiny in his hand now.
Yeah, he's just, like, holding them in the palm of his hand. And Kikuru is just, like, having a mental breakdown at this point because she's literally watching her dad get pummeled by her once friend.
And so then it cuts into that inner shot of Kafka.
Mm.
And he's struggling to break free of the muck that's holding him.
Yeah.
Until he realizes this.
Yeah, he tries to break free. Like, he's doing pretty good at it. But then the little freaking insect thing shows up and just goes, just chomps on him. and he's just like caught in like this wide abyss, not being able to move, not to be able to do anything, just sort of just floating there, just like, well, don't know what to do now. Until freaking Mina shows up, kid form, and then she kind of like reverts to her adult form, or her as an adult, and it kind of gives him the strength to like uh, get control back of himself. And so Kafka is like literally about to kill, or Kaiju No is literally about to kill Kiguru's dad, but as he goes for that final punch, he reverts it and just like stabs himself with his own fist. And he's like, I'm not Kaiju No, I'm Kafka Hibino.
And this is...
Yeah, again, shows the size difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it would have been hilarious if Kafka turned into this when he fought number 9. Because number 9 would have been dead.
Yeah.
Like, immediately. We would no longer have number 9. Number 9 would be out of the story.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is where he's telling him, like, I'm Kafka Hibino.
Yeah, I'm human. I'm not a kaiju. Trust me. And so he like falls down, and we have another new character just pop up for like a split second. I forget this character's name, but Kiguru's dad tells him to put his weapon down, and so
Which
he's
is
like,
a giant blade too.
"Oh yeah, no, it looks like this freaking Final Fantasy looking weapon, just holding it down in front of him." And so Kiguru's dad is just like, "Wait, hold on, he's fine. He's out of commission right now." So he's just like, "Here, just put him in the
calls a med unit.
Yeah, put him in like one of the units and just help him heal." Then we cut to the board meeting between the higher ups and Mina, where Mina talks about Kafka Hibino as being a good person.
And before she starts talking, they all tell her, like, we've already made our decision. This is just a formality to have on the paperwork that we allowed you to speak. But whatever you are about to say is not going to affect our decision at all.
Yeah, again, showing how much assholes they are.
Yeah.
It's like, God, you guys are jerks.
Yeah.
Why is it with every single time, every single organization always has higher ups that are just pricks? Yeah, but Mina tries to put in a good word for Kafka. She's like telling everything she can about him, just like trying to just share her opinion on things. It's like, no, he's a good guy. Like, you might say he's a kaiju, but he's not. He still has a human heart. And we get like a little flashback of them with kids again, and I think it's showing her cat died in like this kind of like what is it, like a little like vet truck or something like that? Yeah, like
it was after a kaiju attack.
Yeah, exactly. And so as she's crying, Kafka walks over and just holds her hand and like kind of acts. She doesn't stop crying, but he's there just to kind of give her some emotional support. So it's another like cute moment between the two of them. And it kind of shows how like deeply she looks at Kafka and how much she has relied on him for most of her life.
And one of the things that she does mention is how much his knowledge has helped.
That is true. Yeah, it does bring that up too.
So,
yeah, but again, the officials are just like, cool, we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we cut to this scene of Kafka healing up. We see like this huge scar in the middle of his chest, kind of like healing up again, and we see that later on as well. And so we see Kafka wake up in his bed, and Kikuru's dad is actually sitting right next to him, and Kafka's kind of freaks out a bit, but her dad is just like, relax, I'm not here to fight, you don't have to worry about it. So again, this is like the part where it's like, oh, okay, so you're not as much of a dick as we thought you were, maybe. Yeah. So then we then cut back to what Kikuru's dad said at the meeting, and so he's like, Kaiju Number 8 will not be exterminated or anything like that. Instead, we'll use him against the kaiju. He'll be an asset to us. And of course, all the other higher-ups are like, are you crazy? And he's like, listen, new kaiju like popping up day in and day out that we know nothing about yet. So like they could be planning something big. So, and it's just us standing between them and the country. So
And
we,
he also comments that Kafka's like Kaiju number 8 powers could be stronger still than what they could transform into a weapon.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, because he's yeah, I think yeah, you know, you're right. He mentions that too. But yeah, no, he tells them this like, listen, like we don't know what the kaiju are planning at this point, so we might as well use one of them to help us out against the others.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, fine, we don't agree, but whatever, we'll accept it. So then the message is sent out to everybody else: Reno, Kikaru, Iharu, Mina, Hoshina. They all get the message that Kafka is fine. I think he's coming back to the Force as well. I think they also mentioned that. So everybody's happy about that. It's all what to do. Yay. Then yeah, but before this, we still have a little bit of an exchange between Kafka and Kikuru's dad, where Kikuru's dad is just like, I don't want
sleep.
What? But yeah, no, he falls asleep. But before that, Kikuru's dad is just like, listen, I don't know if you're fully human. You're gonna have to prove yourself, though.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at least gonna agree on that. And so, but yeah, no, Kafka falls asleep, and Kikuru's dad is like, hey, what are you doing? We're not done yet. Wake up. We're still talking. But yeah, no, I love that. I kind of like that scene because it kind of gives some more insight in the Kikuru's dad, where he's not a complete a-hole, where he actually does care about the country. He does care about the safety of the citizens.
Yeah.
It's not a complete jerk that he's like, no, I am so like hell bent on killing kaiju because I don't want people to die.
Because he lost his wife to one.
Yeah, because I lost my wife, my daughter's mother, to one of these things.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, no, I care about that. And like I like that moment between that kind of like mutual respect between him and Kafka, where he's like, I don't fully trust you, but I can still see that you have like some like you can still be useful to our like to our assault against the kaiju force. And so I kind of like that moment.
Kafka turns around and says, I'm not a weapon.
Yeah, I'm not a weapon. And so, but I also really like that little small moment between them two, where Kafka says something. He's like, oh, like after like Kikuru's dad is just like, I'm not here to hurt you. He's like, oh, thank God. And Kafka's dad is kind of like confused by that. And he's like, I don't know what and Kafka kind of says like, I don't know what I would have done if I had killed Kikuru's dad right in front of her. Like I probably would never have to look her in the eye again. Kafka's dad kind of like, not Kafka's dad, Kikuru's dad kind of takes that and he's like, So that kind of shows he's like, all right. So he does have empathy, something kaiju don't have.
Yeah.
But then, yes, then we cut to this final scene where, we cut to Kafka's older job buddies. One of them's like playing chess and he like loses and he's like, damn it, it's this number 9 guy. He keeps winning. Of course, we cut to freaking number 9. Just kind of like playing these different chess games. He's like, so I've mapped out the height of intelligence humanity is capable of, and they seem to be dangerous when they're together. Don't really like that. So we're gonna have to take them all out. So then, he's just playing his next attack, and it's a little different here too now because like there's some like skin on the ground that like this Roomba is kind of picking up.
And I didn't get the screenshot of it, but there's another humanoid kaiju that's in there.
Okay. I think, yeah. No, you're going.
Right before it goes to black, he says that they're going to take back all the kaiju like gear that the humans have been using.
Yeah, so that obviously is like referring to the weapons that like Kaiju number 2 was turned into, or like any other kaiju's been turned into.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna probably take those weapons. His plan is basically to just take those weapons back and just use them to help the kaiju forces instead. Yeah, but then that's the end of Kaiju number 8, season 1.
Yep.
What did you think of this last episode, DJ? And give me your overall thoughts on this first season. What did you think of it?
Terrible.
Cool.
Um,
All right, guys, that's the end of this stream.
it was really good.
Our friends after this. We have a good night.
Really enjoyed it. It was cool to see, Kaiju number eight's alternate form or the beginning of it.
Mm.
We don't know how much further it could have escalated for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool. It was nice to see that there is still some humanity left in Kikaru's dad.
Mm.
Because for the longest time, it seemed like he was just, almost inhuman himself.
Mm. Yeah.
In his pursuit of taking out the kaiju and everything.
Yeah, like it just seemed like so laser focused on the mission that he didn't really care about any success his daughter had. He was just so concentrated on like one thing that you were like thinking to yourself, like, cool, dude, like, come on, you got to talk to your daughter better than that. So, but yeah, no, this kind of showed us that he has a deeper side to him. So I admire that.
Because even in the earlier shots that we got of him when Kikaru was having flashbacks to her childhood and stuff, like telling her, like, yeah, so you had a victory. So what?
Move on.
Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to see kind of that more human side of him when everything was all said and done. And so it'll be interesting to see how the new dynamic works out with Kafka and the team, because they mentioned it, they're going to have to keep it a secret as long as they can, but eventually the truth is going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So, really good series. Glad we watched it, reviewed it, and like I said, I'm planning on getting the rest of the manga to continue reading about it because I like it.
Yes, manga is very good. I do like the manga. I think the manga actually, sometimes has better art than the actual anime. But the anime still looks really good, though. I was personally, as somebody who has read the manga, like up to the point where the season one ended, even beyond that,
mm-hmm.
like I was very happy with this first season. I think it did the manga really good justice. So I'm excited to see what they do with season 2. Because season 2, I feel like it's going to be even crazier.
Yeah.
Like the point on from this from this point on, the story is just nothing but like a full on fight between the defense force and the kaiju. So I think it's gonna be really cool to see that animated when they get to it.
Yeah. All right. So, like we teased at the beginning, we've got a new series that we're going to start reviewing next week.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the Gundam G Fighter series. And so it's 49 episodes. So we're going to review the first 25, and then we'll take a little break and review something else, and then we'll come back and review the last 24 after that. So,
yes, my first ever Gundam series. Yay!
And it's a fun one. So for those that aren't familiar with Gundam G Fighter, it's a different take on the Gundam storyline. So what the premise is that in the future, all the countries, like the Earth, is kind of tore up and toxified and everything. So they send a bunch of lands to outer space to be colonies for all the different countries and things like that. And they decide that they'll have a global election, and the way that they'll have the global election is having Gundams fight each other. So there's a Gundam representative from each country that goes out and they fight each other, and whichever Gundam fighter pilot is the last one standing, that country becomes the president for like the next 4 years or something like that until it's time for the next election. So we get some really crazy Gundam designs in here because of the countries that they represent. Like there's one that's a windmill. It's a big windmill with arms and a Gundam head and legs. It's hilarious. So
a second, I was like, wait, what? A windmill? Wait, what?
Yeah. Um,
Right,
so I
sure.
mean, there's your more traditional Gundams in there, but then there's some like goofy ones like that. Like there's one that's like a zebra, and another one that's like a bull. Uh, so,
Okay.
um, but it it's pretty cool. So the like first half is a little bit more lighthearted, kind of comedic, and then the second half is more serious. We get into um, more of the like main what's going on kind of thing. Um, so it's really cool. It's one of my favorite series, and yeah, kind of like Street Fighter mixed with Gundam. So
Nice. I'm excited to start. Sounds cool.
looking forward to hearing your reactions to the main character and the friends that he makes along the way.
All right. Can't wait to see all these ridiculous Gundam designs.
Yeah.
You're just gonna be hearing me say, "What the hell is this?" Half the reviews, it's like, "What the hell am I looking at?"
So, so we're gonna end it here. If you've watching this video to this point, appreciate you checking it all out. Again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to leave some comments. If you have any series recommendations that you'd like us to review and talk about, please leave them in the comments, and we'll definitely consider them for future reviews. And until next time, peace.
Later.